Hey, Just, Paul Allen here, and in preparation for our meeting later this week with myself, yourself, and Carol, we decided to put together a quick video on how I foresaw the strategy for Restoreade, and just to kind of give you a couple of insights into what I was thinking and some of the ideas that we'll be kind of looking at. Obviously, nothing's set in stone here, so these are kind of just starting points, and we can kind of learn a bit more as we discover a bit more about your business and your vision as well for the company. So when I was looking at things from the outside in, I kind of looked at a dual path, as I like to call it, battle strategy. So I know you guys had mentioned Liquid IV and the work that they've done so far and the results that they've gotten so far in terms of revenue. So I think if I'm correct, they're on about 100 million a year at the moment, and I do see that as a very positive thing in terms of your business, in that we can ethically hack this model. Not hacking in terms of coding or anything like that, but we can look at what they've done right and take bits and pieces from here and there. And obviously we'll be building it around your own brand and your own message, and not copying or anything like that, but they've kind of done some of the groundwork for us in that we have a path that we know that does work. Now, we would do this in addition to stuff that we add in our own strategy as well. But that's path one. Is we're going to quickly look at this as a competitor, and we're going to find what works and replicate a similar strategy in your business as path one. So if you look at Liquid IV themselves, this is the breakdown of their traffic across the different channels. You can see that organic traffic is by far the biggest source of traffic, with direct traffic coming in second, paid search coming in third, social fourth, and the rest are kind of email and referrals are 2%, and display ads 0.5%. So there's a big kind of focus here on organic search and direct traffic. Now, when I was kind of breaking things down, I noticed this isn't kind of a standard business model. It's not just that they're going out creating blog content and doing standard SEO strategies. It's a bit more than that. So we'll kind of jump into that as well here. So we'll look at organic first. So my kind of general principles on SEO, first off, I'm 100% white hat. I don't ever venture into gray hat. So white hat is good SEO that Google's algorithm likes. Gray hat is iffy SEO that they kind of don't like. And when you're kind of working in those areas, like Google has a tendency to change its algorithm, and it's just happened in the past where people are kind of doing gray hat tactics, and then Google changes its algorithm and all of their websites go down. So I work 100% in white hat. I don't go near gray hat, and obviously I don't go anywhere near black hat, which is the bad stuff. It kind of puts your whole company and brand at risk. Even gray hat does, because if one of those algorithm changes hit you, you're in trouble from there. Now, I do have a fair bit of experience with Google in that I was a business analyst on a contract for them for 6 years, so I have a good idea of what constitutes their white hat as well. So basically, my core principles is building a strong on-site technical SEO foundation. I recommend WordPress for this. Obviously, there are other platforms out there as well that work well, but I do know WordPress well. And the SEO tools and the setup and everything like that works very good for SEO. But this is kind of a checkbox, right? With technical on-site SEO, you either get it right or you don't get it right. So there's nothing really creative we need to be doing in here. There are creative things you can do in here, but like especially starting a company, you don't need to have that level. So basically you can get to 95% correct in on-site technical SEO for very low cost and without tons of ongoing maintenance. And it's the top 5% that the cost starts to scale exponentially and the effort starts to scale exponentially, but most businesses don't need that. So we're talking about getting a solid foundation in terms of getting the website looking right to Google's algorithm so that there's no problems there. Second is research and plan a keyword strategy. So that's kind of basic enough common stuff. Everybody does that. And research and plan a content strategy. So I am a little bit different in terms of content because I also build and continually add to a content distribution strategy. So there's no point in pumping out content. It doesn't matter how good your content is unless you have a process to distribute that content and get the most from it. So that's kind of where now obviously I'm not the only person who does that, but it's something that I emphasize on and building a process around that and to continually add to. So that's kind of important because we don't just build a strategy and then run that strategy. If we find something that works, we need to do more of it. If we find something that doesn't work, we do less of it, and we constantly change that so it's constantly dynamically updating itself and getting better and better. Now we do have an edge here. Like I said, we can research and mirror what Liquid IV has already done. So this is a very key point in terms of what I would be envisioning for your company, in addition to our own SEO. So these are the top non-branded keywords that generate traffic for Liquid IV, and a lot of these aren't that difficult to go after. So that would be my first step in terms of SEO, is start building content around these keywords and start taking traffic, not just from Liquid IV, and you will be taking traffic from Liquid IV, which obviously is good for you as a competitor, but we know that the traffic here is valuable to Liquid IV because we know that the vast majority of traffic comes through both branded and these keywords as well. These are some of the top backlinks that give Liquid IV their SEO authority. So it's still one of the biggest ranking factors in the Google algorithm is number of high authority genuine backlinks. So again, part of my strategy would be looking at all of these backlinks and actually going out and finding how Liquid IV got those backlinks. Some of it might be, researches, some of them might be directories, some of them might be, like comments are links in comments on posts, different things like that some we can replicate, some we may not be able to, but either way we'll still be going in and trying to get the same backlinks that they have, so we can get as much of the same authority that they have and we can start going after the same keywords that they have. So that's kind of it. So we use the content and content distribution strategy to go after these keywords that generate traffic for Liquid IV. And we reach out to Liquid IV's backlinks and we aim to get the same backlinks for Restoreade. It's basic kind of stuff in terms of SEO. There's nothing too crazy here just yet. But this is a very solid foundation in terms of SEO, and I've built websites through SEO using just this strategy in the past. So it does work and it is effective. So these are their top traffic sources. So there's a part in SEO, so we mentioned about the breakdown in channels earlier on. So we can identify what comes through organic traffic, but the keywords that I showed you were non-branded keywords, but there's actually the most traffic from SEO comes from branded keywords. But how do people know what the brand is? So there is a big branding play here, and I had a look through as much as I could of how Liquid IV have grown their brand, and a lot of it can be replicated. That's the good news. So a lot of it comes from paid sponsorships, paid reviews, blogger outreach content, stuff like that. And these are the top 10 sources of their referral traffic, which also means it's the top 10, maybe not entire top 10, there might be other factors in there, but it's a large portion of what causes their branded search, which is their most valuable search. And a lot of these are sponsorships or things that we can replicate. Obviously LA Times is a news item. Spartan here is a sponsorship. We'll have a quick look at that in a minute. So this is what I'm tying into with the direct traffic, right? So again, direct traffic, what it means is when somebody types in the website address directly into the URL, but that's the kind of generic term. A lot of the time when you actually start breaking this down and you start looking at the analytics behind it, especially if you start tracking URLs and everything, we won't get into that, it's a bit technical, but a lot of the time you'll find a lot of this direct traffic is just stuff that whichever tool you're using to track the traffic couldn't identify. So there might be social traffic in here, there might be referral traffic, there might be SEO traffic, there might be paid traffic that basically the platform you're using to track your analytics could not identify, so they bucket it all in to direct traffic channel. direct traffic bucket. So it can be hard to quantify, but when I started looking at the backlinks and the referrals, you'll see the sponsorships, right? So this is Spartan, very big high authority website. Liquid IV is a sponsor, an official sponsor of them, and this is a backlink that is a do follow backlink, which means Google gives them credit for this backlink, and this is pointing to Liquid IV's website. Again, this is the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm pretty sure you know who Joe Rogan. If not, Google him. He's, you know, kind of a top guy out there. And again, you see down the bottom here, I can't hover over it, but once this goes away, you'll see Liquid IV is a sponsor. And again, the majority report with Sam Sider, I don't know who that is, but it's a high authority website. Again, Liquid IV is a sponsor. This is actually a blog post. So again, this is blogger outreach tactics. So they're reaching out to bloggers to get them to put backlinks into them. Some of these might be paid. They might have paid $100 for this, or you know, they might have done a backlink exchange. There's different kind of strategies around this as well. But it would all be something that we can replicate. These aren't outside of our control. Influencer marketing as well across YouTube. While Liquid IV isn't huge at doing this, there is a significant amount of it, and it's something that I would emphasize, especially for the type of brand that you guys are. So you'll see here, this is Mariana Dworska. I don't know who it is, but 27,000 views. And there's a backlink here sending to Liquid IV's channel, and it's 15% off. So she may be an affiliate as well. And that's the other way of doing these things. Feed the Machine, 15,000 views. Nurse Suzu, 10,000 views. Hannah Ubele, 5,000 views. If you get the point anyway, there's a lot of influencer traffic in there. I have a couple of advanced strategies around influencer traffic as well, but it would be definitely something that I would be recommending going forward. But as an example, before we get into paid search and display ads, say we brought in an influencer, like Carol would know Darren Randolph, who's the Irish soccer player. So say he came on as an influencer and he created a review video about Restoreade. So normally a normal agency would say, okay, great, we got an influencer to make a Restoreade, they post to their channel, and that's the end of it. Whereas in my strategies, what we would be doing is we'd also kind of get him to make a quick introduction video, and we'd have that review video posted out across his social media, but we'd also take that review video and we can promote it with ads. So you're talking, you know, 1 cent, 2 cent per view, and we can build retargeting campaigns targeting specifically fans of the influencer. So we know that people who are fans of an influencer are going to take what they say a lot more seriously than, you know, just some random person talking on the screen. So if we went after fans of Darren Randolph or Middlesbrough Football Club, who he plays for, or, you know, Irish football, different people like that who would know who he is and see the message, those people are a lot more likely to convert for your product. So we build a video campaign targeting those people, and then build a conversion campaign to basically convert and get customers from people who view those videos. We can go into that in a minute anyway, but that's just kind of some of the ideas. There's a few kind of advanced influencer marketing strategies that we can work on around there. So again, with paid search and display ads isn't a huge portion of their traffic, but paid is, and we can see again exactly what they're doing, and you know, that takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for us. So we can kind of start off from, you know, we're not starting at the start line, we're starting like halfway through the race basically, so we don't have to do a lot of testing. We still will be doing testing, and we still will be doing our own strategies, but this gives us kind of a jump start basically. So these are the keywords that Liquid IV are currently bidding on. They're currently putting money towards in Google AdWords. So again, you know, the cost per clicks here are, you know, 57 cents, 68 cents, etc., etc. 154. A couple of big, not even big, but relatively bigger cost per clicks on these keywords. But there's a lot of kind of lower cost keywords that we can go after here, and you know, get a good jump start. And not like there's enough traffic here that we wouldn't be taking from Liquid IV here, but we know that these keywords sell for IV, otherwise they wouldn't be putting money behind it. So that takes the guesswork out of it for us, if that makes sense. Again, we can look at exactly what ads they're using, and what's converting with them. So we know this ad format is working because they use it across all their ads. If it wasn't working, they would have changed it because they're putting money behind us and they're generating traffic from it, and obviously their business is doing well. Again, with display ads, we can look at exactly what's working for those, and we can start implementing similar. It's not going to be the exact same, but the similar style, that kind of material design, single color, vector graphics with simple message, simple call to actions, and we can kind of build something like that for Restoreade and start using the same tactics that they're using. So it gives us that jump point. So part 2 is our SEO and paid models. So this is where things get a little bit more advanced, and I know that a lot of companies don't do this stuff, and it's kind of the new trend in digital marketing and stuff like that, and it has been proven. I've done this at an enterprise level. So it's something that like it won't just get you a good start, it gives you an edge on the market, because as far as I've seen, Liquid IV aren't doing this anyway 100%, and as far as I've seen in terms of other companies that I've looked at, in terms of energy drinks or anything like that, not a lot of people are doing this stuff. If they are, it's at a very high level. So yeah, let's jump into it. So our SEO model, this isn't out of the ordinary in any way. It's just kind of a solid process that can be built upon. So we start off with competitor keyword research. So we look at Liquid IV's keywords. We don't have to go out and guess what keywords might work. We know what keywords are already going to work, so we can start. We have a start point, as I was explaining before. Creative keyword research is where we will do a bit of our own research on top of that, and we can look to find long tail keywords and different keywords like that are going to we're going to test and see can we get them to work in addition to the competitor keywords. So this gives us the baseline, the foundation line, and this gives us the part where we can start to grow. Then existing website keyword scaling. So it sounds more complicated than it is. Basically, what this is as we start to grow our website, we can track the keywords that we're generating traffic from, and if we see keywords in there, we just focus on those keywords. We push the ones that are working for us. So that kind of comes more and more the bigger the website gets, and we're basically feeding what we're already bringing in, if that makes sense. So we build SEO optimized content pieces with integrated call to actions and paired with video content where possible. So what this means is every SEO piece that we put out there has a purpose. It's not just out there for content. It's not just out there for SEO. Every single piece has a call to action. It sends traffic where we want it to go, and it gets customers to do what we want it to do. Video is huge in digital marketing. It's huge in the search engines, and there's added channels. Obviously, YouTube is the second biggest website in the world right now. So we need to be all over video where possible. So every piece of content that we put out should have a video that pairs with that. So what that might mean is if you're doing, the top 3 tips for whatever it might be, those 3 tips in text format also has a top 3 tips video format file. So you put that video into the blog content, and you distribute that video across your social channels as well. So 1, it makes the blog content more engaging, and 2, you have a whole other source of traffic. When you're distributing the video across YouTube and stuff like that, you're linking back to the blog content, which gives that more authority, and everything kind of builds itself together. So then we have continually expanding content distribution plan. So this is what I mentioned before in terms of the digital distribution plan. So say we decide we want to focus on 3 social channels to start. We want to focus on Facebook, we want to focus on YouTube, we want to focus on Twitter. So there are 3 channels to start with. Every piece of content that we write along with the video gets distributed across these channels. But then say we want to add in, and sorry, the point here is we monitor how they do on every single channel. So if we put a piece of content together, we send it to Facebook, we send it to Twitter, and we send it to YouTube. Did I say YouTube? I say YouTube. So we send it to those 3. If it gets 5,000 views on Facebook, 1,000 on Twitter, and 10,000 on YouTube, then we know that YouTube and Facebook perform better. So then we try a 4th platform and say that's LinkedIn. I don't think that's a good channel for this. Instagram, we'll say. So we try Instagram and say Instagram gets 5,000. Then we now know that Instagram is performing better for us than Twitter, so we changed that. And again, we're just constantly monitoring what performance we're getting across all these social channels, and every single piece of content goes through the same process so that we can compare like for like when we're looking at the results, basically. Then, as I said, each piece of content has a CTA, a call to action, which means we want that customer to do something, and when they click on that CTA, we send them through a sales funnel. So I'll get into the sales funnel in a little bit, but basically it means that we're constantly optimizing every single action that the customer takes with the piece of content that we're sending out there. So then, in addition to that, and this is something that not a lot of people do, we add each piece of content as a snippet to a value email sequence. So when we're building out our email journeys, so from the point that a customer signs up for our email newsletter, or maybe they sign up for a lead magnet being, they sign up to download a PDF of a how-to guide or something, whatever it is. Once they're on our email list, we need to be sending them continued value, not selling to them the whole time. We need to be creating more and more value so that your brand is in their mind when they think of value. So you're constantly giving them information, you're constantly trying to get them little wins before you ever try to sell something to them. And of course, you can put the sales into that journey as well, but you want to have more value than sales in there, so they're not just getting pushy sales emails all the time. So basically, every time you write a piece of content, we want to reuse that piece of content by adding it into the email journey. So we send out a snippet of it in the email, which then redirects them back to the blog content to get the full article. And then that gets more traffic back to your blog content, and that blog content gets higher in search engine rankings, which brings in more CTAs, which brings etc. The whole thing kind of works together to build itself up. A little bit slowly, admittedly, with SEO, takes a bit of time to get all this stuff working, but once you have a solid process in there, you can monitor your growth and you can find out, what's going well, and you can kind of hone in on that and push towards the stuff that's going well and steer away from the stuff that isn't going well. So the much quicker results side of things then, so I initially like to start off everything with my Facebook strategy because I know Facebook well. I think it's perfect for this product. I think it grows well, and we can kind of feed in different things to it as well on top of it, but we can get into all that at a later stage. But this is my core strategy for Facebook growth, and this is a paid strategy. So instead of just sending out ads to cold audiences, looking at interest and things like that, I prefer to have programmatic audiences built. So whether it be people who've interacted with your Facebook page, whether it be people who've landed on your website, whether it be people who've subscribed to your email, those are the people we're targeting initially. And then we can use Facebook's algorithm to build lookalike audiences, which basically means Facebook goes out and finds lots of people similar to the people that we know interact with our brand well, and they find lots of them. So if you have 10,000 people on an email list, that will turn into 100,000 people in a lookalike audience. And then we use those types of audiences in addition to past customers. These are actually the most valuable because we know that that type of person is likely to buy your product. So we use those type of audiences to push out a Facebook promoted video. So a lot of the time when people are running Facebook ads, they run ads that cost €1, €2 per click. It's the same with Google AdWords. It's €1 to €2 per click, as you saw what Liquid IV was doing. Some of them were around the 70-80 cent mark, but it's still you're paying a bit of money for every single click that you get to the website. By running a Facebook promoted video ad to these targeted audiences, right, we will bring down the cost of getting your brand in front of new eyeballs down to 1 cent to 2 cents. So if you spend $1, you get 100 views on your video. If you spend $10, you get 1,000 views. If you spend $100, you get 10,000 views. So these views are very, very cheap. And what we can do is we can actually pixel everybody who's viewed that video, and we can see how they interact with your brand. So if somebody doesn't like your brand, they're not likely to stay on that video for a very long period of time. They're probably going to stop watching it after 3 or 5 seconds. But if somebody is engaged in your brand and they like what your message is, they like what you're offering, then they're going to stay and they're going to watch that video. Now then, we will put the ad in front of those people that actually interact with your brand, which brings down your costs significantly. So if I watch the video and I like it, say I watch 50% of the video, then I can retarget that person, being me, with an ad that is based on optimizing for conversions. So Facebook is trying to make you revenue, and because I filtered out all the people that don't interact well with your video, I'm now only advertising to people who are already engaged with your brand. So that's something that's very significant in digital marketing, because so many people go out there and they spend money on putting ads in front of people who have no interest in their brand. That's something we're not going to do. That's one of the key aspects of what we focus on, is not paying to put ads in front of people who have no interest in your brand. So then this is a conversion ad. So using dynamic content as well. So basically we use the power of Facebook's algorithm to determine who is most likely to buy your product. So there's no point in, me or you or anybody else, guessing, oh, this is the type of person that's going to buy our product, because we don't have the brain power. Humans don't have the brain power to match, obviously, Facebook's algorithm. It's a supercomputer. So we let that supercomputer, filter through all of, Facebook's likes and pages and all the people on there and match the type of people. And as soon as they get somebody who buys, they look at that type of person and they try to find more of that type of person, because that type of person is most likely to buy your product. So we tap into the power of that, and we get that working for us. In terms of dynamic content, what that is for every ad we put out, we might have 10 videos, or sorry, 5 videos, 5 images, 10 different headlines, 10 different descriptions, 10 call to actions. And basically Facebook will go out and try every combination of all of the different images with this headline, this image with this description, and every variation possibility of the ads, and find which combination of everything performs best and start pushing the budget in that direction. So again, that saves you money and it brings you more customers for what you're spending, basically. So that's what we're doing here. So then once somebody does convert, we send them through, once somebody does interact with your ad, we send them through to a landing page. Now, obviously that landing page is pixeled, so we can track everything and we can target everything. But even in the landing page, we are continuously A/B testing this, right? So we use ClickFunnels, and that's my recommended tool. There are obviously other landing page tools out there. If you wish to use one, or if you have a preference, we can do that. But I've used ClickFunnels. I know it works. It's like the Apple of landing page softwares. And basically we're testing everything. So every piece of traffic that we send, we split test the traffic. So the first person we send to the landing page will have a blue call to action button. The second person will have a green person, and we split the traffic across those blue and green call to action buttons, and we see which one performs best. If we determine that the blue button performs best, then we get rid of the green button option, and this becomes a benchmark. Then we change something else. We do a different headline. So one headline versus another headline. Split the traffic, see which performs best. When we determine which one is, that becomes the benchmark over here. Okay, so we're constantly A/B testing, constantly optimizing, constantly making that a landing page perform as best as it possibly can, so it increases your conversion. But we don't just stop there. So if a visitor lands on your page and they decide they don't like what they're looking at, or if they're in a rush and they try to leave the page, basically we have an exit intent pop-up. So I'm sure you've seen these before, where if your mouse scrolls up to the back button or something like that, it can determine that you're trying to leave the landing page. So we put a pop-up in front of them before they leave. So that's kind of a last-ditch effort to try to capture that person. And that pop-up is going to be something that is, of extreme value, not extreme value, no, I mean, in terms of it would have a lot of perceived value. Maybe it's like an exclusive interview with one of your influencers or something like that. An interview you can't get anywhere else. Something that's kind of a little bit exclusive, but that's easy to mass produce and just give them access to digitally. But to do that, they have to sign up via email or chatbot. And once they do that, even though they haven't purchased your product at first touch point, we now have captured their user information, and we send them through the value sales sequences that I was talking about first. We don't just try to sell to them straight away. We give them value. We add value to their day, add value to their journey in terms of the buying cycle, add value to their efforts in terms of, liquid hydration or whatever it might be. And then we try to sell to them again. And again, when we sell to them, we send them back to this landing page. So again, that's something that's, since they've gone away, come up here, this has already been A/B tested and conversion optimized. So this is getting better and better every time. There's a little bit of a cycle that goes on here. If they do decide that they want to buy, so say they buy one product, straight away we upsell them. So if somebody's going to buy one product, there's a possibility and a percentage of those people that are going to buy 3 of the same product. So we can upsell them to that, or we can upsell them to a complementary product. So maybe it's a book, or a video series about how to get the best out of the product, etc., like that. Basically, we just want to increase that average customer value. So everybody that, even if the product is a small, low ticket product, so like a few dollars, that person is then in a buying, mindset. They're willing to spend more if you put the right message in front of them, because they've gotten past any trust issues that they may have. And then when I talk about trust, like if you land on a page, everybody's brain is automatically thinking, is this something that I trust? Is this something that I want? Is this something that I can see myself doing? All of this thing is kind of going on in your subconscious level constantly. As soon as you press that buy button, even if it's just for $1, that mindset, the person's mindset has switched to something that they now trust this website, and they're willing to put credit card details in to get whatever that first offer was. So if you can match that first offer with a higher ticket offer, but that has the same perceived value, this person's mindset, assuming they can afford it and there's no other extenuating circumstances, is likely to buy. So that's what we do here. And again, if that person doesn't buy the upsell, we've already captured the information, so we send them through a value sales sequence to try to sell them that upsell again. So there's a little bit of a cycle here again. Now the other step is, if somebody lands here and they decide to leave, but they don't fill out the exit intent, we can still retarget that person. So we're basically tracking everybody that lands on the website. So the next time that they go back to Facebook, they're going to see your ad again. So they already know who your brand is at this point. So you don't have to sell them on who you are again, So that's kind of it. Now, the one good thing about this is the Facebook ad strategy. So this is kind of built into 2 parts. This part here is the Facebook traffic generation side of things, but this part here is the sales funnel. Now this will obviously be continuously expanding, so every time we capture someone's email, we'll also send them down an email journey, outside of the sales sequences here and here. And as we go on and there's more and more, we'll be adding on more and more here as well. So different, you might have upsell plus downsell, upsell plus cross sell, different aspects like this, but this is the basic concept. So once we have this built, we can now also send all other traffic to this landing page. So your search engine optimization traffic, your Google AdWords traffic, your referral traffic, your affiliate traffic, your influencer traffic, any other form of traffic, we can then send to this landing page so that it goes through the same cycle. The exit intent, the upsell, the value sales sequence on the upsell, and the retargeting through Facebook. So if I send somebody through Google Ads here, they land on this, they don't go through anything, they don't buy, they don't do exit intent, we'll still retarget them on Facebook. If I send someone through SEO here, they do buy, we'll still upsell them. So all of this is, once it's built, it's constantly running on all of your traffic, making sure that you get the most out of every single visit to your website. So that's kind of the core strategy to kick things off, in addition to the SEO strategy and the Google AdWords strategy that we're kind of mirroring things from Liquid IV. I hope that makes sense. So the principles of our strategy: we build an ecosystem of processes that compound for optimal results. So everything works together, right? So when we grow the Facebook ad strategy, that benefits the Google AdWords strategy. When we grow the Google AdWords strategy, that benefits the SEO strategy. All of these things work together to build an ecosystem of traffic that you control. That's kind of the core aspect there. So we continue to monitor all stages of the funnel for continuous improvement. So we never stop monitoring, we never stop optimizing, we never stop testing new things, trying new ideas. It's a constantly growing and evolving system. So we're always testing against benchmarks to improve on metrics. So in terms of that, that's kind of the way my mindset works in terms of these testing. So once we set off and we run the first campaign, that becomes our benchmark, and say you're getting a 3x return on the amount of money you spent. So say you put in 10k into advertising and you got 30k at the end of the month from it. That's not a bad return, right? But that's just our benchmark. We want to beat that benchmark every single month. So the next month we're still going to run that 10k to 30k campaign and get that 30k secured. We'll also be running another campaign with a smaller budget, a few €100, to try beat the metrics of the main campaign. So once we beat the metrics on a smaller budget, say we get a 4x return, we now know that this campaign performs better, so we slot that up into the main campaign and we expand the budget. Then that becomes a benchmark and we try to beat that benchmark. So we're constantly improving, and this is across all channels. So it's not just Facebook, it's across Google AdWords, it's across SEO, it's across the sales funnel, it's across everything basically. And we need to monitor all of that at every stage as well. So we understand the benefits of modeling growth around the liquid IV path. So that's a huge thing, a huge advantage that you have going for it, in that somebody has basically, is there a saying out there that, what's the saying? The pioneer is the person with the arrows in their back, or something like that. So the person who goes first makes all the mistakes, they find all the potholes, they see what works, what doesn't work. They have to pay to determine what doesn't work. My hand's over here. So they actually have to pay to get rid of all the stuff that doesn't work. So they've already done that work for us. So we don't have to pay to make those same mistakes again. We can follow their path because we know that aspects of their path are working for them because they're a profitable business. So we can take aspects of their path, bring it into our path so that we get profitable out of the gate, basically. We believe in 100% transparency and provide clear analytics and reporting at all stages. That's something I live by. There's no point in hiding it. There's no point in hiding metrics. If something's not working, there's no point in putting money behind it, because, you're not going to make money from it. So it makes no sense. We believe in building a business relationship and are in this for the long run. So look, we're really excited to get involved in a company that has the level of potential that you guys have. We do see a huge potential in it, and to get in at this stage is, really, really awesome for us. We're really, really excited about it. But we are definitely in this for the long run. Like, there's a lot to build, there's a lot in your future, and there's a lot of growth there. So we're happy to work to help you get there, and to do what needs to be done in order for that to happen. And I'm sure Carl will talk to you a bit more about that as well, because I know he's excited as well. And we see a clear path to $10 million and beyond, obviously. So I know that's your guys' goal, to take 10% of the market from liquid IV. And I think that's entirely doable, especially when we're running both of these paths as a strategy. So we're taking pieces of what liquid IV have done, and we're using that to fuel the growth to start with. And there's different stages even to that. So SEO can take 6 months before you start to see the results of it, whereas the Google AdWords traffic will kick in straight away. So there's different aspects there, and there's different timelines involved in it, but there's a continued growth throughout that, in addition to our own expertise in terms of Facebook strategy and email marketing and retargeting and all the good stuff that adds a lot of value in there as well. So by mixing both of those, we're taking a proven method from liquid IV and we're building a proven system from us and combining them both into the perfect system. So that's it. Look, if you've any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to myself or Carl at any stage, and I look forward to chatting to you later in the week. Have a great day.